My name is Tina Ma, and during the time of COVID-19, I did the grocery shopping for my parents, and it brought me closer to my family. So my parents would have my sister and her family, and there's four, a brother-in-law, niece and nephew, and then myself, and then mom and dad. So there's seven of us going over to their house for dinner. And I think they really enjoyed having us all together. And I think that's where my mom and dad show their love. And I think also now that they're retired, I think it gave them a big purpose in the day. We appreciate it so much because during COVID-19 and the quarantine time, we didn't do that. And I think they felt that loss a little bit, and definitely we did too. During that time, I think I realized that my parents who don't drive, we don't want them taking the bus. And that's how my dad would go and get groceries. He would take the bus and go to the grocery store. And I think ultimately it was my sister and myself where we said, Mom and Dad, you guys are in the vulnerable groups. If we get coronavirus, we're probably going to be okay. But it's you two that are really going to be vulnerable for this. So I think it made sense for me to say to Mom and Dad, for the next little while, I'm going to do the grocery shopping for you. You just give me the list and I'll go. The FaceTime conversations I would have with my parents prior to shopping, I think was a really nice time for us to connect. We would probably talk for about 20 minutes or half an hour on FaceTime just to make the list. And it was something that we could talk over our love of food, and I would ask questions about what cut they wanted. And I think that was a really purposeful way to talk and connect and have conversation for us. A couple times I've gone to the butcher and they only speak Mandarin and I only speak Cantonese, and then we would be in a whole lot of trouble.
This one?
In those instances, I've had to pull out my phone and FaceTime my mom or dad from the butcher and actually hold the phone up to the counter and show them what it was. And then sometimes the butcher would be really nice and they would pick up the piece that my mom was referring to and hold that up and make sure that that was the one that they wanted. In addition to meat, which was the most challenging, I have to say, a lot of produce. Lotus root was the one veggie I probably had never bought at all prior to COVID-19.
Oh, man. Wow.
So you have to dig around into the box.
I'm going to pick this one.
And pull out the lotus root. And the lotus roots are usually wet. And I didn't know that that's the way my mom's been shopping for them, but that was a learning for me. My family, my mom and dad had a restaurant in Richmond. It was Canadian style Chinese food and fried chicken. We had that restaurant from the time I was about 2 or 3 years old until I was about 15 years old. When we were really little, my mom would actually be, babysitting us there. My mom would carry my sister on her back with a sling. And I remember playing in the restaurant. There used to be a space under the counter, and we would just play hide and seek under there, have little naps and play dates under there. And then as we got older, my mom and dad needed our help. So my sister and I would help out in the kitchen and in the front. The heart of the kitchen, the heart of our restaurant was, I think, two things, was family and survival. My dad didn't get the career that he wanted. He was the first in his family to graduate from university, but it was not in cooking. And I think a lot of first generation immigrant families, I don't know if it's due to luck or due to racism or due to just, the economy at the time, he didn't get the career that he wanted. And so he ended up going into business for himself. And then I think through that, he ended up working in a family restaurant and then getting married and having us too. And I think that's where the sacrifice and the survival came, right? And it's very long hours. It was 11 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. So we would not be eating the chop suey and the chow mein and the sweet and sour pork for dinner. My mom would still make rice and veggies and a little bit of stir fry or fresh fish for our meals. So I think that growing up food, I think, reminds me of when I was little and how hard my mom and dad worked, but it also still feels really good.
Hello. Hello, Mom. Con khai xong nghe là. Ok. Xong than đi nè. Mày ra hỗ tới gì? Mày mày char siêu, mày mày siêu dọc.
I appreciate my mom and dad for how much care they put into food. Definitely, it's all about fresh ingredients. So for them, they went shopping every other day almost, and they would start preparing dinner a couple hours before it was actually time. So definitely a huge appreciation for how much love and time and hard work it takes for them to make these traditional dishes. I think my mom and dad also developed more of appreciation for me, because I think after a while they knew I was not doing this to stop them from doing their hobby and doing their job, but I was actually doing this to protect them. Sometimes asking for help is not easy in families, but I knew I wanted to do this for them, and I think ultimately they appreciated that. Well, I think food means love in our family. So my parents are not very wordy people. They're not that expressive about their love, but they'll express it in their food. So the first few meals after COVID-19, we just had takeout, but it didn't matter. It felt really good that we were all sitting around a table together, and we had a nice spread, and we were thankful and grateful for what we had to eat, but also that the fact that we could be sitting around together again. And I think even for my parents, who are not the most wordy, expressive people, I think that still meant a lot. And it didn't matter if it was a picnic or a pizza or something like that, which might be the case for the next little while. I think that's the way we're just going to enjoy our time together.